Good evening, Silver and Black Nation, and welcome to the Silver and Black Lair. I'm your host, the Bat Fry, Kenny Fry. Friday, what's up? Friday night, feeling all right. Time for a fight. Let's go. I got a comment here, and it's our boy Adam Glenn. What's up, Adam Glenn? How you doing, buddy? Ready for the weekend, right, buddy? Thanks for commenting. Thank you for checking the show out, Adam. As always, I appreciate it very much. Let's kick this show off. No messing around here. Let's kick it off. Started off a little bit of Raider talk here. Uh, so starting off with the Raiders. There were some like developments a couple days ago. I think yesterday. I think it was yesterday. It's hard to keep it all straight. But Josh Jacobs. It seems like they're slowly, at a snail's pace, getting closer and closer to re-signing Josh Jacobs, and from everything that's been reported, like there's no deal imminent, but they are inching towards a deal. And one of the things that really helps the Raiders out is the increase in salary cap space this year for all the NFL teams. The little bump that they got, and the Raiders were already well under the cap, but that bump, puts them anywhere from $43 to $53 million under the cap. I think if I remember correctly, the original number was $41 million under the cap. Now with this bump, I think it puts them closer to 53. But the couple of numbers I've seen 43, I've seen 42, 53. So I'll go between 43 and $53 million. And that should be more than enough to re-sign Josh Jacobs and have that two-headed monster. That'd be just absolutely awesome with Josh Jacobs and Zamir White. So that's great to see that they're actually working towards it. Josh Jacobs said that if AP's hired, that he's 100% in. So let's see. Let's get this done. Let's stop with the nonsense and have Josh Jacobs in camp on time, early, whatever it takes this year, instead of right before the start of the season. And we've seen what kind of season he had. Not great rushing totals. Not all his fault. But he did catch the ball well out of the backfield this year. There were a few games where he didn't run the ball great, but still had great receiving yards. And as long as he's touching the ball, anything can happen. Absolutely anything can happen with Josh Jacobs. He's a game breaker, and it'd be awesome to make sure we can lock him down and bring him back, and also maybe to a decent deal and get some of these running backs some teams to play on this year. Derrick Henry, Saquon Barkley, Austin Eckler, all these guys are free agents, some big time running backs, but all kind of just sitting there in limbo, not sure in what kind of contract they're not sure as to what kind of contract they're going to end up with, just because the running back market, as everybody knows, if you're a football fan, is so volatile. It's so uneasy. It's not a set thing. We've seen last year Saquon Barkley and Josh Jacobs. Josh Jacobs was the rushing champion. Couldn't get a solid contract. Saquon Barkley, one of the great running backs in the league, couldn't get a solid contract. It doesn't make sense. It does make sense. You understand why, but these guys, they work their asses off, and they're a huge piece, a key piece to these teams' offenses. And for them not to get paid the way they should get paid sometimes can be a head scratcher. Now you look at Derrick Henry's situation, it's a little bit different, a little bit longer in the tooth. He's been around a little bit longer than what Josh Jacobs and Saquon Barkley have been, or at least he's been used a lot more anyway. I'm not exactly sure how long he's been in the league compared to what Josh Jacobs and Saquon Barkley have been, but he's definitely been used a lot more. Tennessee used him a lot, and he did some great things for Tennessee on some pretty good Tennessee teams that unfortunately couldn't get over the hump and push it to the Super Bowl or anything like that. But I think a lot of that comes down to the quarterback position, Ryan Tannehill, those couple of years, but it is what it is. So I'm not sure exactly what kind of contract you can expect for Josh Jacobs. the way I look at it, the Raiders aren't, well, any team. You haven't heard any team now franchise tag a running back this season so far. Now that you can start franchise tagging, but the Raiders said they will not franchise tag Josh Jacobs, and the experts say that the franchise tag number is too high. And you look at the franchise tag number; it's over $14 million for the season. So with that being said, you'd have to expect that his contract would fall under that somewhere. Now what is it? A 2-year, $26 million deal, where he gets 13 per, or 2-year, 25.5 million. Something I wouldn't expect it long term. I would expect a short, like 2 to 3 year deal. I would expect more than 1 year, but I wouldn't expect any more than 3 years. So with that being said, I would expect anywhere from 12 to 15, or 12 to 14, somewhere in that range. Closer obviously to the 12 than to the 14, because the franchise tag's 14, but actually it's like 14.4. So if you get him for $13 million, that's a win for both sides. It's more than what he was making. It's one of the, at that moment, would be one of the highest paid running backs in the league. And that's what it comes down to sometimes also. You have all these running backs waiting each other out to see who's going to get paid what, so they can try to beat that. That's that competition aspect of it. So Adam Glenn says Raiders to sign Wilson. I don't know about all that. I guess with Russ Wilson's contract, if the Broncos do move on from him, from what I understand, he can be signed for the league minimum, or something like that. Or I don't know. I don't exactly understand how it was all worded, but basically you can get Russell Wilson very cheap next year. And so if the Raiders did want to go that route, you can't really blame them. He did have a solid season for the Broncos, for the Ponies, for the Donkeys. He did have a solid season, but I guess there was times where he was just lacking. He wasn't able to show up when it counted. And again, even though numbers wise, you look at his numbers, terrific numbers. Let me pull them up here real quick. So it was nothing to sneeze at. It was better than anything we got last year from any of our quarterbacks. And but they deemed it not good enough for them. Russell Wilson, here we go. Stats. So they had 26 touchdowns, 8 interceptions, over 3,000 yards passing, QB rating of 98. So that's not a terrible year. That's a pretty good year. And he even was benched. For the last 2 weeks, I think it was. So you add those 2 weeks, maybe he throws over 30 touchdowns for the season, or 26 touchdowns. So maybe he even hits the 30 touchdown mark for the season. Who knows? Who knows? His for what you hear about Russell Wilson, for what you hear about, can he be good again? Blah blah blah. 26 touchdowns, 8 interceptions. I'd take that every season. So it's not approaching Patrick Mahomes, or it's not approaching any of those top tier quarterbacks by any stretch of the imagination. I'll tell you, that's some solid quarterback play there. That's winning quarterback play. 3,000 yards passing, 26 touchdowns, 8 interceptions. That's winning quarterback. A lot of teams would take that. I guarantee you. All right. So Josh Jacobs, according to Tom Telesco, what Tom Telesco, the Raiders' new GM, was telling reporters this past week at the Combine, that they are inching closer to a deal. They want to try Josh. They want to try to sign Josh Jacobs. They want to extend him out, and so we'll see what happens. I wouldn't expect it, next week or maybe even the week after, but I would expect him sometime before the draft. That's my thought on it. Anyway, there's no rush, but let's just get it done so it's not a topic. So AP's been in the news a little bit. I guess he's had some comments about uh, I don't know if it got leaked out or what it was, but he said about Patrick Mahomes when they play Patrick Mahomes, he wants the Raiders to hit him hard, hit him often, bury him, just see a play super physical with him, which you don't want to hear that too much in today's climate of the NFL because that takes you right back to Bounty Gate years ago. If you're not familiar, Bounty Gate was the defensive coordinator whose name escapes my mind right now was telling his defense he was putting money on whoever could get Brett Favre out of the game, and so that was Bounty Gate. It's illegal. You're not allowed to put incentives under the table incentives on hurting another player intentionally. And if you go back and watch those games, Brett Favre was playing for the Minnesota Vikings. It was playoffs, and New Orleans just absolutely decimated that guy. They knocked the crap out of him. And he just kept getting back up. Kudos to Brett Favre and whatever Vicodin he was on there, but or any kind of pain medication. He kept getting back up, kept getting back up. And then it comes out a couple years later about the bounty that the defensive coordinator was putting on on Brett Favre's head. It ended up getting him. The defensive coordinator got him banned from the league for a few years. I do believe he's been back since then, but also it got the head coach suspended for a full season. So New Orleans was kind of in limbo there. The coach couldn't coach. Couldn't do anything. He couldn't have contact with the team or anything like that. I think I'm pretty sure it was a full season they had to do without Sean Payton. There is a good chance that I could be wrong about that, but if I remember correctly, it was a full season that Peyton was suspended, and it affected him. It affected the team. It affected the offense, especially with Drew Brees there and stuff. Drew Brees, as great as he was, without your head coach, the other side of your brain, basically. Things can get a little bit wonky on you. And, the Saints weren't the same team they were, before that. So AP, kind of said, hey, this is who I am. I, tell it like it is. I'm not going to sugarcoat it. This is not a gimmick. He said he understands the job is temporary, basically. Sooner or later he will get fired, or he will be replaced for one reason or another. And which is a reality for any of these coaches or players. It's only temporary. Any of these guys, Bill Belichick. How many Super Bowls he's been to, or how many Super Bowls he won with the Patriots. Released. Or however you want to look at it, fired or whatever. But AP's quote was. When asked about his recent comments and the way he's viewed right now, and he said he's keeping all of his receipts of all of his doubters, and he said this is a temporary seat. I am not a fool, and I tell you what, that's an underutilized word, fool. The word fool. I like the word fool. There's so many different ways you can say fool with tone, and you can use it in so many different ways in sentences, and it can cut to the core or it could make you laugh. I like the word fool. So I got hired, I'm going to get fired. Looking at it realistically. But the one thing they're not going to do, they're not going to change. Well, the one thing they're not going to change about me is who I am, how I talk, how I walk, how I act. I don't mince my words or bite my tongue. So there ain't no messing around with this fella. It is what it is. Like it or love it or don't. This is me. It's not a gimmick. I walk through the halls and I see all these coaches, former players, and scouts. Those were the same guys who told me I couldn't do what I was going to do or had my back. I keep receipts. And that was reported on by Vic Tafer. So, yeah, I mean, I love it. I love it. I love AP's attitude, but it's probably going to cost him some money sooner or later, or it's going to cost him something. So be careful. I love it, but be careful. Todd Halleck, what's up, brother? How you doing? Thank you for checking the show out. Thank you for commenting. He says, and I'm going to say this in my best Mr. T voice. Pity the fool. I love it. I love the word fool. It's underutilized, Todd. What do you think? There, Todrick. Underutilized word. It's a great word. So yeah, I love it, and he has that Al Davis mentality. I can't remember Al Davis's exact quote, but basically he used to say back, especially back in the '70s, that he wants the quarterback hit every play. He wants the quarterback picking himself up off the turf every play, and if he's not, then they're doing something wrong. He should always be getting hit. So, and Todd agrees with me. The fool is an underutilized word. It is. So moving on. There's also a couple prospects. Now the combines have started up, and the scouting combine and stuff like that has started up. The Raiders have been in contact with a couple potential draft picks. So I'm just going to read off a couple of them. I don't know anything about any of these guys because I don't watch a whole lot of college football. But here we go. They're interviewed South Carolina State defensive end, which I like this name, Jablonski. Jablonski Green Jr. He met with them at the HBCU Legacy Bowl. So reading up on him, there were some comments made last season, 2022, saying that he's the best player in of all the HBCU schools. Last season, not a whole lot of great stats. I couldn't find anywhere that said if he got injured or what it was, but he only had like one sack and like 7 tackles, so he had to get injured or something happened this past season, his senior season at South Carolina State. So I'm not exactly sure. I couldn't find a whole lot on him. Besides, he's a man of God. He trusts in God. So there we go. Good for him. They also talked with Auburn cornerback DJ James. That was a combine interview, according to Justin Mello. Overall rank for him is 84, and he's the 12th ranked cornerback. They're projecting him to go around the 3rd round. Washington defensive end Braylon Trice interviewed with 12 teams, including the Raiders. His overall rank was 85.3. He's projected to go a late 2nd round pick. Or he graded out 85.3. His overall rank is 68. They're projecting a late 2nd round. 12th ranked defensive end. And Alabama cornerback Terrion Arnold. He met with Antonio Pierce. And Antonio Pierce asked him if he was energetic. And his response was, he says, I am, cut on the tape. I don't understand what the hell that means. I'm old now. I don't understand today's lingo. I had to read it 6 times. I don't understand. Maybe it could be a typo. I don't know. But it says, I am, cut on the tape. For me, I am, put on the tape. I understand that. I am, cut on the tape. So I don't know if that's some sort of newfangled terminology that the kids are using nowadays. I don't know what that is. But it's there. I read it so many different times to make sure I was taking notes correctly with this one. Like, all right, I'm just gonna put it down. That was reported on by Vincent Bonsignor. His overall grade was 88.7. Overall rank 31.3, and he's the 6th ranked cornerback. So nice ranking. And you want guys like that, a high energy. Like it seems like our defense is going to be built around high energy type guys like Max Crosby and stuff like that. So I'm good with that. I like high energy guys. And everything I read on Terrion Arnold, the cornerback at Alabama, a lot of high praise for him. Good in the in zone. Even better in the man-to-man. Good tackler, not afraid to mix it up. So I like that. We want a tackler. We don't need non-tacklers on his team like last season. So that's all I have for the Raider talk today before I hop on over to the Kings. Got a couple more comments here. Eileen, it's Friday. Whoop! Paul Spencer, he's my college football go-to guy here. He watched a lot of college football and he remembers everything, and so that's good. He says Arnold is pretty good. He got overlooked because of one cornerback from Bama, Kool-Aid. One cornerback from Alabama, Kool-Aid, McKinstry. So, you know what? So a lot of, I mean, Alabama defenders sometimes don't seem like they pan out. Like they're high praise, like they get taken high, but sometimes they just don't pan out. I mean, Raiders did it a few years ago with what the hell is his name? Shit, I can't think of his name. It's it starts with I think an M's last name. But anyway, I have his jersey, and I never wore it because he played so poorly. He's like, you know what, I can't. I'm embarrassed. But yeah, he was a bust. He was a first round pick, and it was just an absolute bust. But he was a beast in college, so it is what it is. Todd says maybe it means he's rather full of himself. Like you don't have to watch tape on him because he's the best. Really, you get that out of cut on the tape. You know I am cut on the tape. Because there's even a comma there. And I'm like I don't know what the hell. You know I am cut on the tape. I don't know. Yeah, I have no idea. I mean, the way I read it, I understand it's like, put on the film. You see I'm high energy. You see what, this is what you get. This is who I am. But the way he says it, cut on the tape. I don't get it. I'm out of touch. I'm out of touch. That's all it is. I know it wasn't Leatherwood, and I feel like they moved on too quick from Leatherwood. I think I'm still kind of bummed about that because he did get better the end of his rookie season. Uh, I can't remember who the hell it was. He ended up getting arrested, which seems like to be a lot of Raider former draft picks. Rolando McClain. There we go. I knew it was an M. Finally, just popped in. Rolando McClain. He was a bust. Rolando, and it was really unfortunate because he was a beast in college, and those Alabama defenses were awesome too. So it's kind of like, was it him being a beast or was it the system? Was it the defense as a whole being surrounded by a whole bunch of great players? I don't know, but the dude was a bust. Todd says like a director says cut. Well, maybe he meant like cut to the tape. Let me look at it again. No, it says cut on the tape. I don't know. Cut to the tape. Like a news broadcaster would, or hey, we got puppies attacking ducklings. Cut to the tape. Something like that. I don't know. Today's lingo is bogus for real. It was not Ruggs, no. And Ruggs, I feel like Ruggs would not have been a bust if he didn't have that accident. So I feel like he wouldn't be a top flight wide receiver, but he'd be a top flight threat, which is what he was working his way towards. That one or two shots he'd get per game was enough to really open up the secondary for us for the Raiders. Really gave Derek Carr a lot more room because he's out there, he's wide. You have to respect his deep speed, and so that really opened it up. The short stuff, the intermediate stuff, pulling safeties over to help out with Ruggs, running deep. But no, it wasn't Ruggs. It was Rolando McClain. Paul says, "Oh yes." Then Dallas took him after what? After, yeah, what a mistake. Yeah, I don't. He never panned out for anybody. I know he got rested. I think once or twice since then. Down in I think down in Alabama or Florida. So unfortunate. But it's going to be interesting with all that money, extra cap money that the Raiders are going to have. $43 to $53 million. What they're going to do? Do they sign a veteran quarterback? Re-signing some of their free agents. That are some of the guys that are going to be free agents, like Meek Robertson or Jermaine Ulemanor, or our defensive tackles that are free agents. Bilal Nichols, Adam Butler. Who was the other one? I can't think of the other one right now. But guys like that, key pieces to our team. We should really look to shoring up, and then maybe look at a veteran quarterback if you're not going to draft, or even if you are going to draft one, and you still want that veteran presence. Go ahead and and you're going to release Jimmy G, which I assume they're going to do. That even gives more cap space or cap relief. Not quite like the Patriots. From what I read earlier today, the Patriots were going to release, I don't know who it was, but that would put them over $100 million under the salary cap. So they got some spending to do. Because I think you have to spend, I think it's football. You have to spend a minimum amount. You can't just, dump everybody and save as much as you can. You have to spend a minimum amount, and you can't go over the cap. But there is a threshold that you have to reach in your spending. I'm not sure if that's football or not, though. Paul says 2022 arrested for drugs and weapons charge in car. Yeah. It seems more recent, but yeah, 2022 sounds right. All right. So moving on to the Kings. As they're the ones playing, the Raiders are not playing. He's getting ready for the draft coming up here very, very soon. I switched the overlays to look professional here. There we go. I got a comment from Paul. Patriots J.C. Jackson cornerback just released. Yeah, and that puts them under the salary cap by $100 million. So I'll tell you what, with a rookie head coach, it's not a bad thing. That you can really turn a team around, really build a nice team up. With $100 million, you can do a lot of different things, and we'll see what Gerard Mayo. I'm not sure who the GM is in New England, but it's going to be interesting. A whole new era there in New England with Belichick gone and that whole Patriot way. I mean, I don't know if they're still going to be going by the Patriot way or whatever the hell you want to call it, with Gerard Mayo being one of those guys under Belichick, or if he's going to do his own thing and kind of stray away from that. I don't know. Eileen, hockey time. Hockey time. Let me take a sip of iced tea for the working man here. Todrick's not going to stick around for the hockey talk. He says, see you tomorrow, Kenneth. Let's go, Lady Longhorns. His daughter and my youngest daughter play on the same rec basketball team, and they have the championship game tomorrow. But unfortunately, I will not be there because my older daughter is playing up to play in an 18U softball tournament. So my wife will be with my youngest daughter. I'll be with my oldest daughter, unless some way I can work the times out and I jet out of there early and then run back up. But that's it's a lot of driving, but we'll see what happens. I don't want to miss it, but that's what happens when you have multiple kids in sports. You got to split your time sometimes. But yes, go Lady Longhorns. Bring home the gold. All right, so looking back this past week of games, Kings played the Ducks. They were able to get the 3-2 win in overtime in a shootout, which, the Ducks not a very good team, not a good team at all. And you kind of scratch your head, they had to win in a shootout. But it's a rivalry game. The Ducks do play them hard. It's usually physical, chippy. So I wasn't overly shocked with the final score and the way things worked out. I didn't get a chance to watch this game, so most of the stuff that I did see was through highlights and stuff like that. But the Kings, 50 shots in this game. They ended up with 50 shots to the Ducks 24. Some decent hitting there. They were out hit, but Anaheim won the hit battle 23-19. Kings dominated in the face-off circle 38-18. 2 for 4 on the power play, 1 for 2 on the penalty kill. We won the block shots 15-13, but those 50 shots, kudos to the Ducks goalie, only giving up those 2 regular time goals. That's an impressive night of work. So looking at the scoring in the first period, Silverberg for the Ducks scored his 6th goal, a power play goal, and gave the Ducks 1-0 lead. Then Kevin Fiala scored his 16th goal, a power play goal, assisted by Adrian Kempe and Drew Doughty. That made it 1-1. Looking at the second period, Anaheim gets on the board again with a goal from Carrick, his 8th, the shorthanded goal. That made it 2-1 the Ducks. Then Drew Doughty scored in the second period, his 13th, the power play goal, assisted by Kempe. Fiala made it 2-2. Nothing in the third period, nothing in an overtime. They go to the shootout, and so many shootout losses for the Kings, or overtime losses in general. It's ridiculous. We have I think 10 of them. Yeah, we have 10 overtime losses, and you get rid of half of those, and we're much better standing than we are right now. But if and buts were candy and nuts, we'd all be shitting a brick. I don't know how that ends. I don't know how that saying ends, so I just always make up something different at the end. And David Riddick stopped 22 out of 24 shots with a save percentage of .917. So it's a good win for the Kings. Anytime you can get 2 points at this time of the season, it's good. It was a rivalry game, like I said, against the Ducks, and so we'll take that win. Not where you want to be going to Edmonton. You'd rather like that good dominant win, really assert yourself. But a win's a win. So they go into Edmonton. I think at that point they were 1 or 2 points behind the Oilers in the standings for that guaranteed playoff spot, the number 3 spot in the Pacific Division. And the game started off good. It was a good game. The final score doesn't reflect, I feel like, how the Kings played. I thought the Kings played very well and just came up short. A couple turnovers and untimely turnovers. There was the one, I think it was if I remember correctly, is a Pierre-Luc Dubois turnover in our defensive zone. It's just a missed pass. He just, for whatever reason, thought he was passing it to I don't know if it was Doughty or it was one of the defensemen. I don't know if it was Doughty or Roy. He thought he was passing it to, but it was right to an Oiler. And I don't remember who it was. I think it was McDavid. It's to Connor McDavid, and he was able to pass it to I think Zach Hyman or I think it was the Zach Hyman, and Hyman put the biscuit in the basket. So, and it was so unfortunate because it was like 20 seconds to go in the first period. And that tied the game up 1-1. It was kind of like you lost all that momentum that they built up because they played a really, really good first period. So it was a bummer. So looking at your scoring, first period, Trevor Moore scored, which is great because he's been kind of quiet recently. He scored his 22nd goal, team leading 22nd goal of the season, assisted by Quentin Byfield and Andreas Englund. That gave the Kings 1-0. Like I said, that turnover in the defensive zone late in the first period where Connor McDavid was able to pick off that Dubois pass and then get it over to Zach Hyman. Hyman puts it in, made it 1-1 at the end of one. That was Hyman's 38th goal of the season. He's having a terrific year, and I think that was like assist number 60-something for McDavid. The dude's just amazing. In the second period, we come out strong again. We get a goal from LaFerriere, his 8th goal of the season, assisted by Kopitar and Matt Roy. That gave us a 2-1 lead, but not too long after that, the dickhead, the douchebag, Leon Draisaitl scored 29th goal of the season, power play goal, made it 2-2. Then in the third period, all Edmonton. Bouchard scored his 15th, made it 3-2. Edmonton, and then Nugent Hopkins scored his 16th goal, made it 4-2 Edmonton, and that's all she wrote on that game. a bummer because we could have overtaken the Oilers. And for as bad as January was, being that close, being back in the guaranteed spot was pretty surprising. It was, because you figured as bad as January was that we'd be nowhere near that third spot. As good as the Oilers were playing and are playing, but we're still in the thick of it. So Eileen says this is the part of the show where I pretend I watch hockey. I do this while I eat Oreos. I do everything while I eat Oreos on everything that I do. That's what I should say. Go team, go! You should watch hockey, Eileen. It's an exciting sport. Give it a chance. You being in New York, maybe pick the Rangers over the Islanders, but pick any team. Probably be smarter to pick a team that's decent, that's a little bit more exciting right now, and and follow. Give it a chance. It's an exciting game. It really is, and there's hitting, there's endurance involved, with the skating, up and down the ice, and some pretty decent athleticism from the goalies. And you see some pretty neat hand-eye coordination with some of these guys with the sticks and the pucks, and seeing how fast the puck comes off the stick. Sometimes it's just amazing. 80 mile an hour, 90 mile an hour, pushing 100. It's amazing. So looking at the game stats, David Rittich was in goal. He was in between pipes for that game. Stopped 27 of 31 shots. It's an .871 save percentage. But he played a much better game than that. He played pretty decent. Just a couple breakdowns there. Like I said, that turnover, and then in the third period, it just Edmonton. They pretty much took over the third period. That wasn't on David Rittich. Shots, LA won the shot game, 40-31. Hits. Again, we took that from the last time we played the Oilers right after the All-Star break. We shut them out 4-0, but we were super physical with them. We were hitting them at every turn. Great back checking, great forechecking, checking. And this time we hit them. We were physical again, but they I think they out-checked us. They out forechecked us definitely. They're able to beat our back check. And yeah, so that I think that's where it hurt us the most, was the checking part of it, because we were physical, but face-offs, Edmonton won the face-off battle 30-28. Penalty kill, we were 1 for 3. Power play, we were 0 for 2. Blocked shots, the Kings won that 15-10. Keep blocking those shots, they're super important. Then we went on to our next big game. The Calgary Flames are suddenly super hot. It seemed like they kind of fell off, and you kind of stopped talking about them being in the playoff race. But they heat back up, rattling off a bunch of wins in a row, and doing it convincingly as well. But unfortunately, the Kings fall flat against the Flames also, and we lose that game 4-2. Here's how the scoring went. First period, Philip Denault scored his 11th goal. It's good to see Philly D scoring again. It's been a while for him as well. A little bit of a dry spell. Our whole offense has been really, really bad the last month and a half. So seeing guys that normally score more starting to score a little bit more gives me a lot of hope. So Philly D scored his 11th goal of the season, assisted by Kevin Fiala and Drew Doughty. Gave the Kings 1-0 lead. Then Mangiapane, I don't know if that's how you say his last name or not. He scored his 12th goal. That made it 1-1. Coleman for the Flames scored his 24th goal in the first period. Not all in the first period, but his 24th goal of the season in the first period. That made it 2-1 Flames. Then Kevin Fiala comes back. He scores his 17th goal of the season, assisted by Anze Kopitar and Quentin Byfield, and made it 2-2 after one. So exciting first period. But it felt like it was a sham. It felt like that the Flames just absolutely owned the first period. The Kings really had a hard time getting anything consistent going in the offensive zone. It was just, it didn't feel like it was a 2-2 game. It felt like we were lucky to be 2-2. Second period, nothing. But again, the Flames, just beating us up and pretty much owning our offensive zone. And then in the third period, they were able to pull ahead of us, really wore the Kings down. Sharon Govich scored his 21st goal of the season. That made it 3-2 Calgary. And then Backlund put in an empty netter, his 13th goal of the season, and the final 4-2. Cam Talbot was in net. He stopped 33 of 36 shots for a 917 save percentage, and the dude was on his toes, man. They were in our offensive zone. I tell you what, it felt like the whole game. They were faster, they were more physical. At least that's how it was. Felt like we're watching that game. And I tell you what, Calgary, it could be a scary team if they continue playing the way they play and they sneak into the playoffs. Watch out for Calgary. Shots went to Calgary, which is odd. Usually the Kings win the shot battle, whether they win the game or not. Usually they win that shot battle, but they lost 37-23 shots. Hits, Calgary 30-20. Face-offs went to Calgary 27-26. Penalty kill, the Kings were able to hold up there 0-3. But power play again, nothing out of there 0-3. Block shots went to the Kings 22-14. So getting our asses spanked against Edmonton and Calgary, especially Calgary, really laid the wood to us. It felt like it felt like we didn't have a chance. It felt like that game was like 6-0. That's what it felt like watching it. If they covered up the score and you just watched it, like, man, this Calgary, the Flames are kicking the shit out of the Kings, but we were in it all the way to the third period, so we were lucky to be in it. So now the Kings move forward to the Vancouver Canucks, best team in hockey. So you would expect them to get their asses handed them there, but that's why they play the game. The Kings were able to go into Vancouver, and come out of there with a 5-1 win, and they looked very impressive last night. Very impressive. So let's take a look at the scoring. First period, Drew Doughty scored his 14th goal of the season, assisted by Kevin Fiala and Trevor Moore. That made it 1-0 in LA. Second period, Anze Kopitar scored his 18th goal of the season, assisted by Quinton Byfield and Drew Doughty. Made it 2-0 LA. That's in the second period. So 2-0 LA going into the third. Baser for the Canucks scored 35th goal of the season, power play goal, made it 2-1. And as well as the Kings were playing, Kings were dominant up to that point. I mean, absolutely dominant. The Canucks could not get anything offensively going. The Kings had great forechecking, great back checking, and it's just the Canucks could not get anything consistent going. The Kings weren't really all that consistent in the offensive zone either, but they were in the offensive zone a lot more than what the Canucks were. So it felt like the Kings should have been way ahead at that point. But it was 2-1. And then Kevin Fiala scored a power play goal, assisted by Anze Kopitar and Drew Doughty, made it 3-1. And then Brant Clark scored a really beautiful goal, pass from his second goal of the season, assisted from Quinton Byfield and Trevor Lewis. But it was a beautiful pass from Quinton Byfield. It was a 3. I think it was. I guess basically you can call it a 3-on-2. You had I think it was Kopitar trailing. He just passed the blue line, I think, when Brant Clark scored. But you had Doughty and Clark going, or not Doughty, Byfield and Clark going down into Vancouver zone there, and it wasn't quite like a traditional breakaway, but they were kind of on a breakaway. And Doughty, held the puck, saw an opening, was able to get it to Brant Clark, put it on his stick. He was able to stick that, I think it was his right skate, into the ice. You can see all the shavings, all the snow fly up, and a beautiful, I think it was a backhander around the goalie's pad. It was really a beautiful play, and really impressive from the rookie. And then Trevor Moore scored. That made a 4-1 Kings. The Brant Clark score. And then Trevor Moore scored his 23rd goal of the season, assisted by Kevin Fiala. That made it 5-1 Kings, and that was your final. In between the pipes, Cam Talbot, 23 of 24, 23 saves out of 24 shots, 958 save percentage. Shots went to Vancouver, so the Kings were outshot again, surprisingly, even though they tell you this was a very, very dominant win. It's probably the most dominant win they've had since that Oiler game after the All-Star break, where they beat the Oilers 4-0, and they out-physical the Oilers and just outplayed the Oilers. So yeah. Hits also went to Vancouver, 33-24. Face-offs went to LA, 28-25. Penalty kill, 1 for 3. Power play, 1 for 2. Block shots, huge disparity here. The Kings won the block shots, 23-6. So great job defensively. Like I said, the forecheck and the back check were awesome. The Canucks just could not sustain anything. Hey, what's up, Brum? I don't know how to say your name. I'm going to call you Brum. I don't know if it's Brummelstan. I don't know, but I'm going to call you Brum. What's up, Brum? Thank you for checking the show out. Thank you for commenting. I appreciate it very much. Are the Kings a good team? It's a good question. So the way they sit right now, they are in the playoffs. If it were to end today, does that constitute them as a good team? They certainly have the talent on the team to be a good team, a good to great team. They don't have that one. They don't have that one superstar that most teams do have. Like you look at the Oilers, they have Connor McDavid, Leon Draisaitl, big superstars, especially McDavid. It reminds you a little bit of what the Vegas Golden Knights did last year, except the only difference is the Vegas Golden Knights had absolutely outstanding goaltending. Their goaltending was phenomenal last season. And the Kings aren't quite there. Their goaltending is solid for the most part, but not as good as what the Vegas Golden Knights were last season. But the Golden Knights really had a lot of depth in different spots that led to a lot of different scorers and a lot of a different hero every night. That's kind of where the Kings are. They're just not doing it consistently, like the Vegas Golden Knights were able to do last season, especially during the playoffs. So I do believe that the Kings are a good team, but they're just good right now. They need to be better than good if they want to make any noise in the playoffs. I have no doubt they'll make the playoffs. They have a nice little cushion here right now. It's still a month to play here, but they should make the playoffs. But in order to make any noise, they have to be better than a good team. But they are a good team. Earlier in the season, they were the best team. They were points percentage per game had the Kings rated as the number one team. And I guess they figure games played, how many games are left, how many games are left compared to other teams. It's all you'll see that when I start breaking down what the standings look like. There's teams that have played 3 or 4 more games than other teams. So those teams that played less games have like 2 or 3 less points. They have a higher points percentage than what the team is actually ahead of them with more points, just because they have a couple games in hand. They have a couple more games to play, so that gives them the advantage and more opportunity to score more points, to obtain more points in the standings. So early on, the Kings were the best team in the league, and January hit, it was a kick in the nuts, I'll tell you that. So, but yeah, then again, thank you for commenting, and thank you for checking the show out. Tell all your brothers and your sisters and your mama too. So let's get back to this. My 3 stars of the week. I do this every week now. Good, bad, or indifferent. But anyway, my 3 stars of the week. The 3rd star, Drew Doughty. He had a rough game against, I think it was against Calgary. Everybody had a rough game against Calgary. But for the most part, this past week, he played really, really well, especially offensively. He ended up having 2 goals and 3 assists, 5 points, plus-minus rating of 0. But offensively, he was really mixing it up, which you need right now. We have a couple guys out injured, which I'll talk about in a minute here, and we need him to step up offensively. And he had a terrific back checking. His back checking was on point, especially against the Canucks and against the Canucks, and I think it was probably the Ducks. Both games we won. Against the Oilers, we really struggled the back check and the forecheck. Against the Flames, same thing. The back check, forecheck was not there. But anyway, he's our 3rd star of the week. My 3rd star of the week. 2nd star of the week, Anze Kopitar. 1 goal, 3 assists, 4 points. He was at a plus-minus rating of +1. And he had a good week. And except for that Calgary game, which again, like I said, everybody had a shitty game against Calgary. And with these injuries that we have to Victor Arvidsson, Adrian Kempe, we really need more offense out of Anze Kopitar, our captain. We need more offense out of him. We need more offense out of Kevin Fiala, Philip Denault, Trevor Moore. Those guys have to, every week we talk about Pierre-Luc Dubois needs to score more, but it is what it is. I'm not going to – that's beating a dead horse with that guy. Jekyll and Hyde right there. And so that leads me to my first star of the week. Kevin Fiala has been playing out of his mind. 3 goals and 4 assists this past week for 7 points and a +2 rating. He's been phenomenal this whole week. Really cut down on the turnovers, which is one of his big things. Like, he'll get points for you. He makes the offense go. He's fast. He's the playmaker. Does amazing things on the ice. But he does a stupid turnover. It seems like every game there's 1 or 2 of them. Like whether it's in a neutral zone or a cross ice pass that leads to a breakaway. It's like some like what the hell are you doing, Kevin? But this past week, none of that. He's been absolutely awesome. They've been moving him into different lines. I do believe against the Canucks they had him with Kopitar. It was a Fiala, Kopitar, and I can't remember who the third forward on the line was. It was Fiala. I don't think it was Trevor Moore. I don't think it was. Was it Trevor Lewis? I don't think it was Trevor Lewis either. I don't know. But anyway, he was playing up with Kopitar on the number 1 line, and it looked phenomenal. It looked very good. So I really like the way Kevin Fiala is playing. If he's going good, the Kings are going to be going good, and they need him to be going good, especially with Kempe being out for a period of time. I was talking about this at work, John. I was talking about this term at work, and I don't know what it means. I still don't know what it means. It says 2001 LA Kings team was my favorite Jigfoot Kings team. So I still don't know what Jigfoot is. And that's it got me stumped. And you still haven't come up with a definition or something to give me a hint as to what a Jigfoot is. So I still can't figure it out. But yeah, so for me, the LA Kings, I became a fan. I think it was back in like 93, 92, 93. And where I was living at the time, as a little fry, as a small fry, all the neighborhood kids, we played hockey. We played football, we played hockey, we played baseball, but we played a lot of street hockey. And we had the one guy was a Bruins fan, Blackhawks fan. My brother, he was a Capitals fan. Another neighbor was a Penguins fan. I had to pick a team, and I didn't want to pick any of their teams. And Wayne Gretzky was just traded to the Kings, and he's the biggest name in the game. So I picked, of course, the Kings, and absolutely became a big fan of their goalie Kelly Rudy. I really liked Kelly Rudy. Made me want to be a goalie, so that's when I became on our street hockey team. I was the goalie all the time. It also helped that I was the fat kid and didn't want to run up and down the street, so it made sense. And so I was a Kings fan, since then. I kind of stopped watching for a period of many years, just due to, working and, worried more about, girlfriend and stuff like that. So it is what it is. And then I finally got back into the Kings about 2 years ago. And I'm telling you what, I can't get enough of them. I love watching them. The only bummer is it's a West Coast team here on the East Coast. Yeah, it's kind of tough. All the games are like 10:30 at night, and either I'm already at work or in bed already. So that's the only downfall. Hey, Foster Covers, what's up, buddy? Everything is well. Thank you for checking the show out. Thank you for commenting. I appreciate it very, very much. Ziggy Palfy, I remember that name. Yeah, Ziggy Palfy, Dead Marsh. Did Dead Marsh, did he play for, or maybe I'm thinking of Marsh. Did he play for Colorado as well? I can't remember. But yeah, I remember Ziggy Palfy. Ziggy Palfy, there was I remember watching a little bit of Tony Granato as well. Some of Jeff Carter, not a whole lot of Jeff Carter, but that was early Jeff Carter, and that's kind of when I stopped watching. It just lost interest, and I'm happy to have my interest back, though. I really enjoy watching it. I'm not to the point, though, John, where like I used to be able to watch all sorts of different teams. I love the rivalry games, like watching like Philly and Pittsburgh, or Rangers Devils. The Detroit Red Wings and Colorado Avalanche used to be a huge one because the Red Wings were really good. The Avalanche was really good, and it was just always a physical battle and always going at each other. What other rivalry games were there? The Rangers Flyers were pretty good. The Flyers were decent back then as well. I think that's when the Maple Leafs were actually. I think when Maple Leafs were part of the West. Because I remember the Kings. That was early '90s, early mid '90s. I don't know when the Leafs moved to the East. But yeah, it was. I used to be able to watch. I can't watch other teams yet, though. I'm not to the point where I could watch Boston and New York play or anything like that. So Deadmarsh played in. Yeah, I remember seeing that name. Okay, and was traded for Rob Blake. Yeah, I could picture that. I could picture the Colorado jersey with Deadmarsh on, but I started doubting myself if it was just Marsh or if it was Deadmarsh. All right, so moving on from my stars of the week to the standings. So looking at the standings that they sit right now in the Pacific Division. Now remember the top three teams in each division: the Pacific, Central, and then your Eastern Conference, which I don't really talk about. The top three teams of every division are automatic playoff berths. So keep that in mind. And there's 2 wild cards for the rest of the teams. So first, number 1 overall in the Pacific Division are the Vancouver Canucks. They played 62 games. They're sitting at 38, 17, and 7, 83 points. Then you have the Vegas Golden Knights, played 60 games, 33, 20, and 7, 73 points. Then you have the Oilers, who played the fewest games at 57, 35, 20, and 2, 72 points. And the Kings are just 2 points behind them, playing 59 games, 30 wins, 19 losses, 10 overtime losses at 70 points. Then you have the Calgary Flames. As hot as they've been, they're still 7 points out. They played 59 games. Their record is 29, 25, and 5, 63 points. And Seattle Kraken, who are up and down, they also played 59 games, 26, 22, and 11 so far this season, 63 points. So top 3 right now in the Pacific: Vancouver, Vegas, and Edmonton. And you have 3 teams within 3 points of each other between Vegas, Edmonton, and LA. So a lot can happen yet. Nobody's probably going to catch Vancouver there. They'd have to get super hot. Like the Oilers, if they got super hot again, maybe, but I don't see it. The Western Conference overall, your number 1 seed would be Vancouver, 83 points. Number 2, Dallas, with 81 points. They're 36, 17, and 9. Number 3, the Winnipeg Jets, who've been playing really, really well. 37, 16, and 5 with 79 points. Number 4, Colorado, 37, 19, and 5, 79 points. Number 5 seed would be the Vegas Golden Knights with 73 points. Edmonton's would be your 6 seed, 72 points. Your 7 seed would be the Kings with 70 points. And your 8th seed, the Nashville Predators with 70 points. They're playing very well. And the Kings have 2 games in hand, so that's the tiebreaker right now for the number 1 overall wild card spot. So if the playoffs were to start today, the playoff matchups would be as follows: the Canucks versus the Predators, Stars versus the Kings, the Jets versus Edmonton, and then the Avalanche versus the Golden Knights. Pretty good matchups there. So looking at who's next up for the Kings, on Sunday they play the Devils at home. The Devils are sitting there at 30, 25, and 4, 64 points. They're on the fringe for a playoff berth in the East, as a playoff team in the East. So, the Kings just beat them out in New Jersey. I think it was a 2-1. I feel like it was 2-1. A pretty good game, tough game. So I expect the Devils to come out there and want a little bit of revenge. They want revenge. You're going to avenge their loss. So then on Tuesday, the Kings welcome in Vancouver, who I said earlier, 38, 17, and 7 with 83 points. And then then Ottawa comes in next Thursday. You have the Ottawa Senators that sitting at 25, 29, and 3, 53 points. So, a couple games there that the Kings, absolutely very winnable. Then you have the Canucks. Again, just beat them 5-1. So you don't expect that every game. They are the best team in the league for a reason. And so you can't expect them to beat them 5-1 all the time. Even though the Kings were very dominant in that game, it's a week later and things change. Teams play different. So a couple very winnable games. It'd be nice to come out of there 2-1. A couple wins. Maybe come out of there with 4 points would be good. It'd be nice. We got some breaking news here. Some breaking news. Red alert from Out of the Box Sports and Entertainment. It says, stay tuned. A WBO/NABA welterweight title may be coming soon with an announcement from the champ himself. Opponent, stay tuned, who we already know who it is. Champ was at Paul's. So the champ himself is Trigger Trayshawn Wiggins. So I know he's been working on trying to get a big fight there with Broner. I think it's Broner. What's his first name? I don't think it's Adrian. Adrian Broner, I think. So I know Broner's been ducking the champ, Trigger Trayshawn Wiggins. So can't wait to hear that announcement. That's gonna be a huge one for Trayshawn. Huge announcement. So stay tuned for that one. For all you boxing fans out there, good stuff. So looking at our stats here for the Kings, Kevin Fiala is now our stat leader. 18 goals, 34 assists for 52 points. He now leads the team in points and assists, a -5 rating. If you're not sure what the plus minus is, plus minus rating is if you're on the ice when your team scores, you get a plus. If you're on the ice when the other team scores, you get a minus. Very simple. Sitting second is Kempe, Adrian Kempe, Juice. 19 goals, 32 assists, 51 points. He has a +7. Then Anze Kopitar, 18 goals, 32 assists, 50 points, +9 rating. Quentin Byfield, who's absolutely outstanding this year. 18 goals, 28 assists, 46 points, +17 rating. Trevor Moore, 23 goals, who leads the team in goals. 23 goals, 17 assists, 40 points, a +4 for Trevor Moore. Drew Doughty's having a really good offensive season. 14 goals, 23 assists, 37 points for a +11 rating. I think Drew Doughty's season high for goals is 16, so he's closing in on that really quickly with 14 right now. Philippe Denault, 11 goals, 22 assists, 33 points. He's at a +6, so it's good to see Philly D starting to score a little bit more now. And then Pierre-Luc Dubois, getting nothing out of this fucking guy. I'm sorry to drop the F-bomb, but that's just it. It's frustrating as all hell. 13 goals, 13 assists, 26 points, and -19. He shows glimmers. There's some games he shows glimmers of what he can be, and then there's other games he's back to the shit show that he's been. And I don't have words for it. I don't know what they're going to do. The Kings are absolutely in cap space hell. They have nothing in cap space to go out there and sign anybody or trade for anybody unless they get really crazy with how they do it. Like with getting a third team involved to take on some of the money of whatever they do. But with guys like Dubois making $8 million a season and not producing, it's just killing us. It's absolutely killing us. Looking at the goalies, Cam Talbot sitting at 17 wins, 14 losses, and 5 overtime losses for a 2.5 goals against average and a save percentage of .914. And then David Rittich is at 9 wins, 4 losses, and 3 overtime losses. Goals against it at 2.32 with a 914 save percentage as well. So goalies, not bad. Not great, not bad. Talbot early in the season, great, but he has come back down to earth. And Rittich, I feel like he's come back down to earth a little bit as well. He was playing really, really well, so much so that he took over the number 1 spot from Cam Talbot. But now Talbot's playing his last few games a little bit better than what Rittich has been. So I expect those guys to continue flip flop the rest of the season. So the biggest news this past week, past week and a half, 2 weeks, however you want to look at it, is all the injuries now, and key injuries, I should say, that are happening for the Kings against the Oilers. Like 50 seconds ago, or no, maybe I think it might even been less than that. No, about 50 seconds. Adrian Kempe goes down, and Adrian Kempe has been playing fantastic. I thought offensively, terrific. Penalty kill, terrific. He's been playing very good defensive forward position. So, but he goes down with a wrist injury or something like that. They're calling it an upper body injury, but it looked like his wrist kind of fell on it awkwardly, and so he'll be out for pretty much the rest of the season. They said they're expecting him back by the end of the month, and the end of the month is pretty much the season then. But they do expect him back before playoffs, so that's important there. But now we have to go through this stretch run here without him, without one of our key pieces, our key offensive pieces. Victor Arvidsson, another guy who we're waiting all season to get Victor Arvidsson back from back surgery, waiting. Finally get him back, and we have him back for like 2 games, and then he gets hurt again. But they're expecting Victor Arvidsson back before the season's out, but near the end of the season, so the end of March. And now another huge one was Mikey Anderson last week against the Predators. He went down with an injury. I haven't seen anywhere where there's a timetable or even what the injury is. So that's a huge blow. He's one of our best defensemen. It goes Drew Doughty and then Mikey Anderson. Those guys are 1A and 1B. Mikey Anderson, great job of blocking shots. He's always filling up the lanes. He's sticking the lane. And without him, it's going to be tough sledding for our defense. They really need to pick it up. So it's going to be interesting to see what they do. They have Brant Clark up right now, and he's more of an offensive defenseman. He's a rookie, very young, and there are flashes of brilliance offensively from Brant Clark, but defensively he's not there. He's just not there. And then Jordan Spence, another youngster. Plays well at times and sometimes gets a little bit lost, but overall not bad. They also had Jacob Moverari, which is hard for me to say. So he's been up for I think the last 2 games maybe since Kempe's been hurt. They've had him in the lineup because opting to go with the extra defenseman than to bring in another forward. So I guess they're sitting out scratching Arthur Kaliev in favor of the extra defenseman, and I feel like it's worked out. The Moverari has played well, better than expected, so hopefully he can keep that going. But these injuries, we can't afford to take another injury. It could be catastrophic, and the sooner we can get Arvidsson and Kempe back, the better. Unfortunately, that means they have to open up roster spots and take on their cap money then. Because if they weren't going to get those guys back, they could put them on long-term injured reserve and get some of that cap relief back, and then go out there and sign somebody or trade for somebody to help us out in the stretch run. But because you expect them back, you don't want to put them on long-term injured reserve and lose them for the season. But when they do come back, you can fill while they're on the injured list, you can fill their spot up with somebody else, and still be okay. But then you have to make room for when they come back because of their cap money. It's really strange how the NHL does it. It's hard to understand, but it's how they do it. You could put a guy on long-term injured reserve, and that takes their money off the books, so you could bring somebody else in. But you put them on injured reserve. You bring the replacement in when you put them on injured reserve, but then you got to take them out and make sure you have enough cap space to bring the other guy back in. It's really strange. It is. It's interesting. What do the Kings need? To be honest with you, I would think maybe a little bit more forward help. They haven't had a consistent scoring this season. Early on, it was a whole lot of scoring from a whole lot of different people, but since then it's been very inconsistent. So like another forward or a goalie, just kind of shore it up a little bit in the goaltending area. There were rumors of Tyler Toffoli. I think that's his first name, Tyler. I could be wrong. Used to be a King. He was a King a few years ago, and he's been to a couple different teams now. But he's with the Devils. There were rumors the Devils were looking to free up some cap space for next season, and looking to get something back for Toffoli, who's coming up on a contract here. So that rumor was out there. I've seen that around a couple different times. So I would absolutely welcome that reunion. He's having a really good season with New Jersey. I think 26, 27 goals so far this season. So somebody like that. So maybe maybe Tyler Toffoli. I'm not really sure 100% who's even out there, but I do know we need a little bit of forward help and anything to get more scoring. And goalie makes me nervous just because of the age. Cam Talbot's late 30s, and I think David Rittich's mid 30s. So you just never know when something breaks down on those guys. We do have some decent young goaltending down in our farm system, but it's unproven. So you don't know what you're getting there either. And I think March 8th is the trade deadline. So it's going to be interesting to see what they do. And there's different ways they can get creative with the cap space. I remember reading or hearing somewhere that they could have a third team or another team enter into a trade to take on some of the money from the contract. And I don't know how that works or what they get out of that. Do the Kings have to give them something else in return then if they take on some of that money? Or I don't know. I don't know how it goes. I don't understand it. I'm not going to pretend to understand it either. But I do know that some really key guys injured, and we need help. And I don't think the Kings can do anything about it, which is a bummer. But it is what it is. All right, so I'm going to go ahead and do my sponsor reads and then check out of here. I got a long day tomorrow. Got to be out of the house by 4:45 in the morning for a softball tournament. All right, Jason Fine, J. Fine Law, attorney Big Al. You can reach Big Al at 1-800-HURT-123. That's 1-800-HURT-123. Jason Fine specializes in motor vehicle accidents, slip and fall, workman's comp, and personal injury claims. He should move his offices out to LA. We got plenty of personal injury claims going on right there. He has 3 office locations conveniently located throughout Pennsylvania and New Jersey. In the Garden State of New Jersey, the office is located in Cherry Hill, 3 Greensward Lane. The phone number there is 856-209-5258. And in the Steel City of Pittsburgh, Pennsylvania, the offices are located at 500 Grant Street, Suite 2900. The phone number there is 412-365-8151. And in the city of brotherly love, Philadelphia, Pennsylvania, the offices are located at 1628 JFK Boulevard, Suite 2120. The phone number there is 267-888-2980. Or just use that 1-800 number, 1-800-HURT, HURT123. Jason Fine. Head on over to monkeycoldcoffee.com and get all your gourmet coffee needs. They have bourbon chocolate chip infused coffee, toasted coconut rum, a Sumatran medium roast blend. They have a organic blend called Perula, Florida, and their newest flavor, the Golden Honey Agave. They're also selling barrel-aged honey on their website at monkeycoldcoffee.com. And they have a swag shop with t-shirts, coffee mugs, tumbler cups, cold brew pitcher setup, K-cup adapter, and don't forget your Paradise Rum Cake amongst many other things at monkeycoltcoffee.com. Once you fill up your virtual shopping cart at checkout, use that promo code OOTB Sports for 10% off your order. That promo code, once again, is OOTB Sports for 10% off your order at monkeycoltcoffee.com. Got another comment here. Yep, you stay safe as well, Foster. Thank you for checking the show out. And once again, let me put this out there before I check out. There was breaking news, nothing official yet, but it says WBO NABA welterweight title may be coming soon with an announcement from the champ himself, Trigger Trayshawn Wiggins. Opponent, stay tuned. We already know who it is. Champ was at Paul's. So our boy Paul Spencer has some inside information here. Like I said, I know the champ, Trigger Trayshawn Wiggins, has been poking at Broner for a while here. So hopefully he gets what he wants and can finally prove to Don King Promotions that he's the guy that they should be promoting. So let's hope. All right, so that's all I have for today. Thank you, everybody. Be sure to follow us, Facebook, YouTube, X, formerly known as Twitter. We're also on TikTok and Instagram. Like, follow, subscribe. Please subscribe to our YouTube channel and follow our X page or Twitter page, whatever you want to call it. It's greatly appreciated. And if you have any ideas or thoughts, or if you want to do your own show, reach out to us. We're always open. Plenty of time slots, plenty of creativity. Be as creative as you want. Whatever you want. It's out of the box. So reach out to us. Let us know, and we can figure it out. All right. Thank you very much, everybody. Let me get to the end page here. There we go. Go Kings, go, and just win, baby. See you later.